Welcome to another exciting episode of Star Wars Chat, brought to you from Darth Sidious 33. It's me, your host, Captain 66, and we are here for episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So, this movie is dark. It's the darkest of any Star Wars movie. So the opening space battle is definitely one of, if not the best, opening space battle, because really, we don't get anything else except for The Last Jedi, so once The Last Jedi comes out, we'll compare both opening space battles to see which one's truly better, but as of right now, this one is the best. So always as a kid, I wondered how would Palpatine become the Emperor, and especially after seeing the Phantom Menace, and seeing how he looked like a regular man, but then there's the Emperor who's all shriveled up and orange eyes and stuff. So it was really cool in this movie to get to see that it was his own lightning striking back on his own face and hands that really tore him up. Anakin's fall to the dark side. We knew in this movie that Anakin was going to turn to the dark side. That was something that was already known. And so it was kind of interesting to see how it wasn't hate or anger or for a lust for power that drove him to the other side. It was love. Love for Padme caused Anakin to totally knock down and betray everyone and everything he knew in order to save her and save his unborn child. So Anakin basically dies in this movie. I mean, really, because once Windu dies, Anakin becomes Darth Vader, but I always felt like when Palpatine reveals to Vader at the end that he had killed Padme from his anger, and Darth gives out that last scream, no! I always felt like that was like the last bit of good, the last bit of Anakin was being screamed out of his soul. No! And that was Anakin fleeing to the skies, so to speak, and Vader was all that was left. It's pure evil. Because everything Anakin did in this movie was for Padme, for his love for her, and in the end, it didn't pay off. It's really a sad movie when you think about it. And this movie is the first time we get to go back to the Wookiee planet Kashyyyk. We first saw that planet in 1979, 78, 79. The holiday special. That planet's featured quite a bit, and it's kind of cool that we got to go back and see a better version of that planet, and we didn't get to see Chewie's family, which I am so thankful for. So Windu's betrayal. I will do a full video on this battle later on, giving details about who I think truly won, and if Anakin hadn't showed up, what would have happened, and all this long details about it. But right now we're just going to talk about Windu's actual betrayal. He lifts his saber up, Anakin cuts his arm off. He screams, and Palpatine unleashes unlimited power of lightning on him, killing him. That's probably the most lightning Palpatine has ever used on a person, because now, young Skywalker, you will die in Return of the Jedi. He does strike Luke a good amount, but I feel like he was a little older, so he was probably a little weaker, and he probably couldn't give out quite as much power, whereas like unlimited power on Windu was like total strike. And that scene was so scary and so epic in the theater. I mean, I just got chills. It was like the greatest scene ever for me. Lightsaber duels have always been, and always will be, one of my absolute favorite things about Star Wars. In fact, that was the biggest complaint I had about The Last Jedi. But this movie had more than any other movie. In fact, it had more than the first two movies put together, just in this movie, and more than all three of the originals put together. And usually a movie has like maybe one good lightsaber duel, possibly two. This movie opens with a great lightsaber duel, and it doesn't stop there. Then we get Mace versus Palpatine, and then we get Obi-Wan versus General Grievous, which is pretty cool to see 4 lightsabers going against one. And then we get the absolute greatest lightsaber duel in the history of any Star Wars movie ever. Obi-Wan versus Anakin on Mustafar. And then not the greatest lightsaber duel, but the greatest, most epic moment ever is when Yoda and the Emperor face off. I mean, think about it. You have Yoda, the Empire Strikes Back Yoda, and then he dies in Return of the Jedi, and then you have the Emperor, the hologram in Empire Strikes Back, and then you see him in Return of the Jedi. These two, the most powerful good and the most powerful bad. You never would think in a million years, ever, could they possibly even meet up. And here they are, not only facing off, but also in a lightsaber duel against each other. That is so cool, it's scary. I mean, anyone that doesn't think that is the coolest thing ever doesn't know Star Wars. And during that Yoda versus the Emperor battle, we get to see Yoda lose his coat, which for me that was a big deal, because in the originals Yoda had a coat with no hood, and in the prequels he had one with a hood. So I always thought, well, either he's going to have to get a new coat or it's going to be a big flaw in the story, which I know most people wouldn't even notice that, but that's the kind of things that I notice, and that's the kind of things that made Revenge of the Sith such a good movie for me. So the few things I have left to say is it was kind of interesting and cool getting to see how old Luke and Leia were when they were split up. I thought that, it's possible that they could be older, 2 or 3, 4, possibly even 5-year-old kid wouldn't remember being with somebody, and then 19 years later, seeing that person grown up, you wouldn't know it's the same person. You may in your mind think, like, oh man, didn't I have like a little brother, a little sister when I was a kid? But I mean, you would assume that Obi-Wan told Owen everything that had happened with Anakin and Padme dying, and that the twins were split up, and that Luke must never know who he is. Of course, he obviously actually does, because he talks about knowing who his father was and stuff, and wanting to know who his father was. You get what I'm saying, and all that. But at the same time, he doesn't know who he is. We'll talk more about that once we get to episode 4. And of course we have young Tarkin, which is pretty cool. The soundtrack to the movie is definitely one of the best soundtracks. We have the Battle of Heroes is right up there with the best tracks of any Star Wars movie. So in the end, is this the best Star Wars movie? My personal opinion is definitely one of the best. Yours might not be that it is the best, but I'd say for sure it's in the top 5. For sure. And you should go out there and watch it. Enjoy it. It's a great movie. It's the best possible way they could have ended the prequel trilogy. Yeah. So go out there, enjoy it, watch it. We'll be here next time with Rogue One. Till then, may the Force be with you.